Don't get blinded by the light from fame. We're all ordinary people at the end of the day. We make decisions, some good, some bad, but we all pushing for things we never had.
Ordinary people with extraordinary ways.
Yeah.
Everyday people trying to make a way.
It's just us.
Hello, I'm Charlene Bowden. Welcome to It's Just Us. So glad you're joining me today. I'm pausing and I'm grinning and smiling because I have joining me someone who you hear his voice, you read his material, you know he's behind the scene, and I'm just giddy because he's in front of the camera with me, and he's always behind the camera. Joining me is Mr. Aubry Padmore. Welcome to the front of the camera and to It's Just Us.
Hey, I'm excited to be here.
I want you to calm down a little bit.
I'm trying. This is long in coming, huh?
Right, I was getting
And
ready to
so
say that.
I know it's been, what, 8 years trying to get me on here?
Oh, see, you're calling out numbers.
I'm sorry.
That's okay, but that helps me with my first thing I want to say. Why are you so hard on people?
Well,
Okay, that's not really what I want to ask.
if you're worth it, if you're not worth it, I'm not going to be hard
We're
on
not
you.
going to talk about worth. For real, though, how did your background influence you as a coach? Like I said, you're pretty hard on people, though.
Mm-hmm.
So how did your background shape that choice to be so hard on me, people? I can't leave me out of it. Go ahead.
I came along very hard, huh? From loading canes on a truck back in Barbados and walking, going to school without shoes, not having a father present, and just a lot of different things that I associate my background with. But then I realized I'm not responsible for where I came from. So where I'm going, if I see the opportunity to help someone, I go in soft, and if I think they're worth it, I push for hard, because you have to get to where you're going, because you're not responsible for where you come from, and you have to take ownership of where you're going. So that's why I'm hard on people. And if you're willing to listen, then hey, I'm going to keep at you until you win.
So you've mentioned worth a couple of times,
Mm-hmm.
and just to bring spirits and esteem back up, define worth.
Worth, value, absolute value, according to understanding your original purpose and value in the universe. God created all of us, and a lot of people don't want to believe that, but we can, put the science behind it and the history and make it make sense in a reality. So once you realize that the origin of your value is extremely wonderful, then that's where your value lies. You just have to be able to navigate chaos that goes on in this world to find your true value back to your original self.
Okay, thank you for that. So you mentioned back to 8 years ago with the radio show. Let's talk about Carib Voice Radio a little bit.
Well, Carib Voice Radio was birthed right after 9/11, because we had a newspaper on the ground, and then Boudroom, who was an English teacher, he started the whole program, and during one of my lunch period while I was working for the court system, I contacted him and I said, hey, I'm looking at this paper, and it's not on the street. I don't see it anywhere. What happened? And he said, I don't have a vehicle. I said, well, I have a limited edition Honda Passport. Let's go get them. And that restructured and created the redistribution of Carib Voice Radio. And the uniqueness of that paper is that it was a collector's item for students. They would go back to it for research. And so when 9/11 happened and reconstruction of people's lives took place, I decided that we would create a model for communication purposes. And I've always been a speaker, and I wanted an aggregator to be there to help create an incubator for people. And that's where your show came in and how you became part of it. Through Terry Moore, who has a great respect for you. And he called me up and he said, hey, Aubry, I know someone that I think might do really well with you. And I said, okay, and I talked to you, and I discovered that you had worth, and exceptional and growth and opportunities. And the beautiful part about you is that you were willing to be teachable, even when I was being a pain in the butt. And you were committed, you were consistent, and that gave you the credibility that I needed to continue pushing with you. Right? Now we're collaborating again.
Yep.
The 4 C's are high C's.
The collaboration didn't end. We just find ourselves as we zig and zag through our paths and our journeys. But you have an incredible passion and expansion of yourself to just give back, you know. At the entertainment station is what you've coined, Carrot Voice Radio. And I just look at some of the people that come through that portal. And I sit in awe of, again, how you just give. And I know now more that is tied to worth. And I just want to say I appreciate that about you and your team. You have a great team that you work with. You want to shout some people out now?
Yeah,
Or
not
at
yet.
this point? Not yet? Okay, that's fine.
yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
When I started Carrot Voice Radio, I was in a room because I had just gone through a divorce, and I couldn't even afford the $90 a week for the room. So I lost my car, I lost everything, and the only thing that I had left was a laptop. So I went on Google and learned how to manipulate HTML code, and I created my first broadcast. And out of that, someone listening shouted me out in this Jamaican voice, "Aubry, you're live!" And I said, no, it's a podcast. And it's interesting that the new model that everyone, in terms of what convenience looks like for people, is about podcasting now. You know, Podcast Supreme, all of this kind of stuff. But anyway, to make a long story short, on that foundation, they offered me the ability within a week to go live. And that's how Carrot Voice Radio was birthed. And then that ability to pay my way forward became a reality for me. Yeah.
Cool, cool. And I think I read somewhere in your material the word guru. And you're just becoming guru, mogul, just across the board. You have Carrot Voice Radio, of course, but you do a lot more in media as well. What are some of your projects?
The other one that's really important to me right now is I lost my daughter on October the 4th to alcoholism and some issues associated with domestic violence. So that's a heartfelt program that I put together to help women, and I was doing that before with the Ordinary Women, Extraordinary Lives conference that I held in Barbados and will revamp and have this year. And then I'm working in conjunction with a gentleman, Simon, in London to do World Speech Day. Now, World Speech Day was done in March. It was the first time in history it was done. And it created a real powerful message from people across the world in different race, creed, color, nationality, spiritual origin. And the beauty was to answer the question, what can you do to make the world better? For my program, I'm working with 2 agencies in Barbados, one that does take care of women and men in the 2 areas of interest that I mentioned before, as far as what's going on with alcoholic abuse. And it's very interesting when I did the domestic violence. When I went into Barbados and I made the announcement, we had the Barbados Professional Women's Club sign on and really support it. So that's a huge push for us also. And what was interesting is that we had some ladies from London who came in. And Charlene, some of the stories in the room were so powerful that they really helped me to understand my daughter's course in so many ways.
And you have a powerful story as well. And I believe I mentioned at the top of the show that you're a motivational speaker. Want to share one of the pieces from one of your speeches now? Can we transition to see some of your work?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
I'm going to do that right now.
You need to learn how to manage finance. And finance is not just the money, it's every single thing you do behaviorally related to money. When I speak to people and they come and they ask me to help them and they want it for free, I said, please, you insult me. If someone says to me, I don't have any money, but I want you to help me, I say, you mean you don't have any money from me? Because at the end of the day, you're going to go out and you're going to spend money on something, somewhere, that's not going to matter to you. It's going to be an emotional buy. If I invest in you and you invest in me, Jason, when he asked me to come, I saw him as a valued asset. And listening to him speak today, he is definitely pre-qualified. Pre-qualified.
Wow, Mr. Padmore. I don't know what to say. You're a motivational speaker, media, and an author. So you are translating information, sharing with us, you, in so many different platforms. Let's talk about your book.
Oh. Well, this book started out when I was working in the court system. A young lady said to me one day when I got on the elevator, "You're such a bundle of motivation that I wish I had you in my pocket." And I started thinking about that, and I said, you know, I need to start sharing some of my most deepest thoughts, but to simplify the process for people. I always feel that people are not really focused on everything that people tell them, just the things the quotes that they note.
Okay.
And the basic tenet for that was like, example, your mama. You know, it's a quote, but it's caused so much trouble in the world.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And or I love you or I hate you, and people carry those quotes with them throughout their life, right? So to qualify your life and recognize that it's not everything that people tell you, but the things that you hold on to, you have to make sure that it's more about positive than anything else. And I chose to do 40 quotes for successful living because I dedicated the book as a spiritual messaging center, right?
Okay.
Even Jesus, when he was tempted of the devil, said, "Hey, look, it is written." And so that was like, hey, nothing you can tell me is going to change it, because that's the practicality, and you need to step down because you don't even have any place here anyway. So in writing the book, I shared one quote per day and the meaning behind it that would cover 30 to 31 days a month for everyone. And then I decided, you know, let's make it 40, because 9 or 10 of them you have left over in case you don't want to deal with anything else.
All right.
So that was the simple thing about that. And I wanted to do it myself, so I created a publishing company. Actually, a friend of mine, she was talking about creating a company, and I said, well, if you do it, then you can publish under, I can publish under you. And so I self-published that way. And I mean literally putting the book together from scratch, cutting the paper, doing the covers, everything. I ordered equipment and did it. And someone said, that's crazy. I said, yeah, I know, because I am crazy. But the beautiful part of it is that timing. It became a point where everyone was trying to do something that recognized how to sell books and make money,
Right.
and that sort of thing. As a matter of fact, the book is in the library as a resource for young people and for people. And they bought the books and said, hey, look, we're going to hold on to a few of these in the library so that people can have them.
Nice.
The library system fell in love with it. And now I'm in Dallas through the Dallas Public Library System. We're probably going to start looking at distributing them in there, and then Writers Club and different things. But again, the book became an aggregate. If you're a speaker and you can share value to people in terms of a book, CD or tape, or in this new model, you know, a podcast or video or something, that's what I do. So I look at it as it's creating my own 360 deal for myself, but with a different model that doesn't exist. You know?
And still giving back even in the middle of all that.
Yes, you have to always give back. January 5th, I'll be 54. And when I look at my life, I think there's only one absolute value in the universe, and that's to take care of people. Everything else is just, passing through. But for me, it's the cornerstone of I feel why I was born. So I do it, and I'll continue to do it, and I've helped other people too. Yvette Maynard, who was my assistant, I published her book, and she talks in the book about when her father died and so on. When her mother died, how the father took took the doors off and so on. And it's a really powerful read, and I'll share that. I'll share the title later, right?
Well, can you share your contact information now?
Yeah,
please.
My contact information is aubryspeaks.com. That's AUBRYSPEAKS.com, and it's Coach Aubry @gmail. That's COACHAUBRY @gmail.com, and my phone number is 347-215-1704.
You come through Atlanta a lot, on your way north and south. Stop back by to see me.
I sure will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hit your other home. Glad you're here.